as a field veterinarian, or from field work perspective, there are several misdiagnoses when it comes to coccidiosis. One of the most doubting is orange mucus, found either in the gut or the feces. So is orange mucus always related to Ewméria maxima, or how to differentiate that?
Yeah. Orange mucus, yes, it's an important question because there are some mistakes made with orange mucus. Orange mucus, yes, in the description of Johnson and Reed, the scoring scale, it said that from lesion score 2, there might be some orange mucus in the gut. Lesion score 3, there is orange mucus, and lesion score 4, there is orange mucus, and there are also traces of blood. So this is the description of Johnson and Reed. But as I said with 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria brunetti and 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima, these kind of lesions are not typical. So you may find orange mucus that is not linked at all with 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima or with the development of coccidia. For example, with broilers, with fast-growing broilers, we have in France we use the Ross 308, and this kind of bird is always hungry. He eats always, and if you put the birds in a box in order to bring them to the laboratory to make the diagnosis and the examination of the gut, they will starve for a certain period inside the box, and as they starve, the gut will get empty and they will produce some orange mucus. In the case of 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima, orange mucus might be associated with liquid content. If you find an empty gut with only orange mucus but no water inside, but the orange mucus is very pasty, or if you find some orange mucus inside a normal dropping, there is no link with 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima. And in order to make sure, you can pick a little amount of this orange mucus and look under the microscope, you won't find any oocyst of 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima. It means that this orange mucus can have different origins, and it's not always maxima. Yeah. But sometimes we make some shortcuts, and this shortcut is not the good one.
Thank you. This is a big dilemma, right? People.
Yes. But it's really difficult. The lesion scoring of 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima is very difficult. And when you suspect and when you see the orange mucus, always make sure, always confirm with microscopic observation. And if it's due to maxima, this orange mucus, you will find very large ovoid oocysts. And in that case, yes, okay, you may say, I find the oocyst, I have the orange mucus, so it might be lesion score 2 or 3. But if you don't find the oocyst, orange mucus, but I don't know why.
Because we see very often it's open houses, or sometimes if it's too hot weather, yes, birds are just not eating. So, and then
yes,
ultimately you see.
Yes. But do you see really often some cases or some mistakes concerning cases with 𝘰𝘹𝑒ria maxima? Do you have a high prevalence? Do you have an experience with maxima? Because in France, I think we underestimate this problem, but we are not sure.
I think maxima, when you see, is the one we see mixed problems with sometimes with Clostridium. And yes, people, they mistook a lot of with the dots and the suffusions, right? So they, and it seems that some immunosuppression also caused the suffusions. And also in my areas with Newcastle disease, sometimes the intestine is also affected. So they mistook a lot with 𝘰𝑒ria maxima. So this is one of the main, but people is the number one concern. People are most afraid for maximum. And the second would be Tenella because they see the mortality, but not always related to the losses.
Well, in experimental infections, we never succeed to cause mortality with 𝘰𝑒ria maxima. Maxima alone is not supposed to induce mortality, but when it is associated with other pathogens, and for example, there is a description of association of 𝘮𝘪𝘮𝘹𝘪𝘮 and 𝘮𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑖𝑎 maxima, which separately they do not kill the birds, but when they are associated, they kill the birds. And sometimes there are some association with bacteria, and you talked about 𝘮𝘪𝘮𝘪𝘮 or necrotic enteritis. In that case, yes, there might be some associations.
But why some we see blood in the feces, others we don't see the blood? Some it is linked to the pathogenicity?
With 𝘮𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑖𝑎 maxima, normally you don't see blood unless the infection is very important. Once I had a case, the veterinarian, he brought me some guts of infected, it was with hens, and the guts were full of blood. And I suspected at that time I may have necatrix, because the blood inside the midgut, most of the time it's necatrix. And I checked in order to make sure. I make a small scraping, and it was full of oocysts of 𝘮𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑖𝑎 maxima. But it was the only case, the only time I saw so much blood with 𝘮𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑖𝑎 maxima. Most of the time there is no bleeding with 𝘮𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑖𝑎 maxima. It will cause some gut disorders, liquid content, diarrhea, and malabsorption, of course, but no bleeding and no mortality most of the time. But it's biology, so everything can happen.
Yes. Thank you.